Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture. And remember, there's nobody meaner than Tamina.
And this is the news. And we start off with Kofi Kingston, of course. Kofi Kingston has been screwed.
Scriggity screwed.
Out of WrestleMania yet again by that old...
Screwed McDuck.
By that old git, Vince McMahon. Of course, last night on SmackDown Live, it was the gauntlet that Kofi Kingston have to run to qualify for that WWE Championship match against Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. And he completed the gauntlet, but then just when he had all the answers, Vince McMahon changed the questions. So last night on SmackDown Live, we started off with Kofi Kingston taking on Sheamus. He defeated him thanks to a Trouble in Paradise. He then defeated his tag team partner in the bar, Cesaro, with a SOS. Out came Rowan, who got himself disqualified with a chair shot, but seemingly had sort of left Kofi Kingston as easy pickings for whoever came next, especially after his Iron Claw slam through the table. Out come United States champion Samoa Joe, we're thinking, oh, this is going to be easy.
Bones.
Simple stuff. He goes for a muscle buster. Kofi Kingston reverses into a roll-up. Samoa Joe's not best pleased about getting pinned, does a sort of coquina clutch through the ropes. Kofi Kingston is basically passed out by the time the Viper, Randy Orton, comes out as the final member of the gauntlet match. But Kofi Kingston manages to reverse an RKO, gets another surprise roll-up for the 1, 2, 3. Let's all celebrate. Kofi Kingston is off to WrestleMania for the WWE Championship match, except nope. Here comes Vince McMahon. He says, congratulations, you're off to WrestleMania. If you can beat one final guy, out comes WWE Champion Daniel Bryan. And surprisingly enough, after wrestling for an hour, it was kind of difficult for Kofi
To beat the WWE Champion.
Yeah.
The kayfabe best wrestler in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He hit him with a running knee, 1, 2, 3. Kofi Kingston lost. He's been screwed again.
Yeah, I didn't expect Screwing McGregor to show up. That's enough of those for now. This was classic stuff, really, wasn't it? I mean, like really textbook WWE babyface heel booking. Vince McMahon comes out, he pulls a classic Vince McMahon move. He says, you've won, except you haven't, because here's Daniel Bryan, here's the best wrestler in the world. Kofi loses, that's another hurdle in front of him. It's another obstacle for him to overcome, which he probably will overcome. I mean, we all know that they're probably doing that match, right?
We are just over 2 weeks from WrestleMania, though.
Yes, you raise a very good point. I almost feel like they've kind of left themselves with so little time to actually book like a logical way to end this that they're probably going to have to end up doing Twitter segments to fill in the gaps. It'll be the day before WrestleMania, we won't have a match, and all of a sudden there'll be a tweet and Kofi Kingston will have beaten up Daniel Bryan and stolen the hemp belt and smoked that belt. I don't know, it's really condensed, but I'm really digging it so far. I am semi-worried about how they're going to book the match in the end. There are some really on-the-nose allusions to the Daniel Bryan stuff, the B-plus player.
I quite like that. It's divided opinion, hasn't it?
Yeah, I don't dislike it, put it that way, but I'm just a bit worried about maybe next week they'll do an Occupy SmackDown and then it'll just be like, oh, come on, lads. Maybe they'll even book Bryan against Rowan early in the WrestleMania card and repeat the WrestleMania 30 thing. I don't know. Either way, it's good so far.
We know how long WWE's memory is, and this has been 5 years, so they've definitely forgot what happened in the past. But I, for one, cannot wait for Kofi Kingston versus Vince McMahon in the opener of WrestleMania 35.
I'm here for that, brother. Anyway, speaking of WrestleMania 35, big swerve when it comes to Kurt Angle versus Baron Corbin.
Oh, thank God they're not going to do that
Do you want to know what the swerve is?
Yeah?
The swerve is, there is no swerve. So in the most WWE move of all time, what they did on Raw was they set up this Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle match that nobody really wants. With kind of like this underlying...
Even Kurt Angle's wife doesn't want it?
Exactly. Karen wants... Not Karen, that's not his wife anymore. Oops.
Hi to the friend of the channel, Jeff Jarrett.
Sorry, Jeff. Basically, they kind of set this thing up and it led to all speculation that, well, they're going to change it. They're obviously going to change it. Justin LaBar reported that it was definitely being changed. No, they're not going to change it. According to PW Insider, this is the match WWE want. They actually want Kurt Angle versus Baron Corbin in Kurt Angle's retirement match. So after over 20 years in the business, after all these great memories, these great matches, great moments, Kurt Angle's going to face Baron Corbin. Now look, I love Baron Corbin, but as I said yesterday, Baron Corbin's rubbish.
Yeah, this is the most WWE thing ever, where they book something, we all go, they get it, right, they're going to bait and switch, usual thoughts, and then it comes out, thanks to PW Insider, backstage everyone's like, hey, who's excited for Kurt Angle, Baron Corbin, hey guys?
Big banter, Baron Corbin, the Big Breakfast, aka you can go back to Ring of Honor. It's really funny. Like, how are they going to pull this off without the entire arena just being like, Like, the only way I could conceivably see them doing it is if the match lasts like 2 minutes, Angle hits him with an Olympic slam, the ankle lock taps him out, done. Retirement ceremony, big TV moment, confetti, whatever. That might work. But
just don't do the match. Just change it. If we haven't booked the WWE Championship match, you have time to change Kurt Angle's retirement
John
match.
Cena, man, just get John Cena in, please.
It's a bit of a WrestleMania special on the news today because we have 2 more title matches confirmed for WrestleMania 35. Samoa Joe will be defending his United States Championship against Rey Mysterio. That was announced in a backstage segment on last night's SmackDown Live. And Rey's son Dominic,
Big Dom, back on the scene.
13 years old. God, I'm old. When Rey last had a singles match at WrestleMania, he's going to be ringside for that match. What could possibly go wrong?
Is going to go there.
And the Cruiserweight Championship match has been confirmed as Buddy Murphy versus Tony Nese. Tony Nese defeated Cedric Alexander in the final of the Cruiserweight Championship tournament last night on 205 Live. By all accounts, surprise, surprise, a great match and shock horror featuring a Spanish fly.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
In a Cruiserweight match.
Color me shocked. Well, that Cruiserweight booking really is a pleasant surprise. I mean, Cedric Alexander is a fantastic wrestler. He's been one of the best wrestlers on 205 Live since the division was relaunched after Enzo Amore's release. But we've seen him versus Buddy Murphy a lot. We have seen that match several times on television and on pay-per-view. It's now time for something fresh, something different. Tony Nese, maybe not such a spectacular wrestler, but I think him and Buddy are going to have great chemistry. He's got great abs, as you just pointed out. And look, as Michael Hamflett, our great colleague, pointed out this morning, there's going to be enough good wrestling on WrestleMania. There's going to be enough great wrestling, traditional style matches on WrestleMania. Get some Buddy abs in.
Get some abs in,
man. And, you know, Buddy's a big sexy beast himself, so that's going to go down well. As far as what on earth was the other match?
This is exactly my point. The SmackDown Women's Championship, that has been completely forgotten.
Well, yeah, kind of. Except kind of not, because WWE have booked the most underwhelming #1 contenders match I can think of. Well, maybe not Lana could be in it. But there's going to be a #1 contenders match next week on SmackDown to determine who faces Asuka at WrestleMania. So they're doing a 2-week build for what is supposed to be one of the biggest titles in the company. Basically,
it was last year.
It certainly was. The participants for this match are Naomi, Carmella, and Sex and Violence, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville.
So sex, violence, hair and dancing.
Yeah, it's. I mean, look, it'll be great to see one of these women get a big WrestleMania payday because all 4 of them have improved immensely over the past couple of years. I think Sonya Deville is one of the most promising wrestlers in the company. It'd be really cool, actually, to see her win the match after the recent tensions between her and Mandy. If she won the match by, like, pinning Naomi or Carmella, that would be a really good way to escalate those tensions further because Mandy's obviously going to be peeved off because Sonya cost her the women's title. So that might be a cool little story to tell, although then you have the danger of making Asuka, who's supposed to be a big deal, look like a passenger in the Sonya versus Mandy storyline. So there are interesting things they could do with this, or for the banter, they could just have Naomi win for no reason and just have a boring match with Asuka the last 5 minutes. Either way, the way they're booking this division kind of sucks.
Yeah, I don't want them to make another triple threat match, but I would quite like to see a triple threat featuring sex, violence, and Asuka.
Yeah, I mean, that might work. It'd be a cool little dynamic. It is another triple threat match, well, as you say. They would have to concoct some kind of screwy finish to this fatal 4-way. Either way, I mean, the WrestleMania card looks good. We can't complain too much.
It's big, I'll give you that.
It's huge. There are always, every single year, going to be a couple of matches that have to bite the bullet. They have to go 4 or 5 minutes because there are going to be some long things on this show, particularly if it has 17 matches, 17? As has been rumoured. Unfortunately, it looks like the SmackDown Women's Championship is going to be one of those matches this year. I am not particularly happy about that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and sorry, I realised you were asking earlier about Rey versus Joe for the United States Championship.
Grief, yeah.
What do you think is going to happen there? Apart from Dominic getting choked out.
Dominic's getting choked out. The guy's been training to wrestle over the past year or so. That's definitely happening. I think Joe goes over. We've heard rumours of another AJ Styles program after WrestleMania. Personally, I think it's a little bit too soon for that. But given that that's been doing the rounds, that would make sense as a United States title program. I think it would do a lot to raise the prestige of a belt that has largely been forgotten about over the past year. So I think Joe goes over. I think maybe Andrade gets involved, perhaps.
Ooh, yeah.
Given that he still has that Mysterio rivalry bubbling over, if they're ever going to book them on a pay-per-view.
I hope they just chuck Andrade and R-Truth and make it fatal four-way for me.
I mean, it would be a fun match, wouldn't it?
And just so we've got it on camera, what happens if Dominic turns on Rey Mysterio?
I am going to walk out of the building.
Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions today. As always, you can tweet them out at WhatCulture WWE. First question comes from Navaneeth on Twitter, who says, can we get to see Bayley and Sasha versus Nia and Tamina versus Beth and Natalya versus the Iconics for the tag team championships in a ladder match at WrestleMania 35? For me, that's better than what they've already booked.
Ooh, that's tough. That's tough. We're definitely going to get that match, right? Not necessarily the stipulation, but we're probably getting that four-way tag after what happened on SmackDown this week and after what's been going on Raw. A ladder match with Nia Jax, with Tamina.
Nobody's meaner than Tamina.
Nobody is meaner than Tamina, but Nia Jax is pretty good at hurting people. I'm not sure that's the best idea. On paper, it sounds kind of exciting, but Nia's really quite a dangerous worker. Tamina's not great. Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, I think they've improved a lot.
They're the best tag team in the world.
I think their act is tremendous, but neither is the most advanced between the ropes. They're good, they're fine, but they're not great. I think really you need trustworthy, reliable, veteran hands in matches like this, and also a degree of athleticism as well, right? You also have the Sasha Banks factor. Now, Sasha Banks is a great wrestler. Sasha Banks is crazy. She takes all manner of stupid mental bumps. She's going to do something off her neck from the top of a ladder. I don't necessarily want to watch that. I think in this case, a conventional four-way tag might be fine. Don't want anyone to get hurt.
Let's move on to another question from Brad Grove, who says, "G'day from Australia. First ever tweet for the news." Yes, I'm going to read this whole question like that. With Ronda turning heel, Travis Bryan getting involved this week, Lesnar looking to stay, and the other ex-UFC fighters at NXT, do you think WWE is setting up a UFC versus WWE feud?
I mean, that would be a really cool angle to take, I think. They certainly have the personnel for it. I mean, I don't know what Travis Banks?
Not that one.
Travis Browne. I don't know if he's had any wrestling experience or anything, but
he can punch people in the face.
He came off well on the angle. They've obviously got Ronda, they've got Lesnar, they've got Shayna Baszler, they've got the Horsewoman, although they do need a bit more seasoning. They've got Matt Riddle. Sonya Deville obviously wasn't in the UFC, but she was an amateur MMA fighter. They could potentially hire guys like Tom Lawler.
Chris Cyborg,
absolutely.
Comes in and murders some people.
She'd be a tremendous sports entertainer. There are all kinds of... Gina Carano wasn't in the UFC, but why hasn't she done wrestling yet?
Conor McGregor,
if he's not getting arrested for
You'll do nothing.
I think it's a compelling idea. I wonder, though, if maybe it's a bit too early. Some of those personnel do need to be sharpened up a little bit. Some of them need to be... I've just mentioned Tom Lawler and Conor McGregor, for God's sake. They would need to be brought on board. It might be a good angle for the future, perhaps not for just now.
Absolutely.
Cain Velasquez was training in the Performance Center recently as well.
Who else was it? Fabrizio Verdun has been linked as well in the past.
He's like 52, but still.
The final question today comes from Cowboy James, howdy partner, and happy birthday for the other day, by the way. He says, do you think AEW, he's asked this loads, every single day he asks this question, do you think AEW will do an invasion with WWE?
No.
Cool. Well, that's all. No, I think it's interesting that so many people are speculating about that. There's even some people suggesting that AEW being a thing has been secretly funded by Vince McMahon. He also asked if they would do it, how would they do it properly? I don't think it's going to happen either.
Yeah.
It's wishful thinking, but I mean, take your pick in terms of booking some of those groups together.
Yeah, I mean, like, jokes aside, obviously, like, we could sit here and do some fantasy booking, come up with an incredible angle with all these incredible matches and an amazing storyline, but I think that Vince McMahon sees AEW as the mortal enemy. Like, I really love that conspiracy theory about Vince bankrolling them, given that Tony Khan and his father have literally about 7 or 8 times Vince McMahon's wealth. So that's
they could buy and bankroll Vince McMahon if they wanted.
They could sell that man if they really wanted to. I just don't think it'll happen. I think Vince sees them as the mortal enemy. I think that's the reason why he's been so aggressive in the talent acquisition front this year. And I think that he would rather do everything in his power to try and destroy AEW. It would be a great storyline, like there's loads of potential there, but I just don't see it happening.
Sorry. Right, let's move on to today's and finally, and it's less a funny story and more of an appeal. My name's Adam Wilborn and my birthday is in August of this year, which coincidentally is the same time that Titus O'Neil's autobiography comes out. It's entitled...
What a coincidence!
There's No Such Thing as a Bad Kid, How I Went from Stereotype to Prototype. This is an appeal. The address is on a website. If anyone wants to buy that autobiography for me and send it to me for my birthday, I'd love it.
You are such a beg. You're like one of those guys who puts their PayPal profile on their Twitter page and goes, send me money for my content. Nah, come on, man. that was.
In all seriousness now,
I will buy it for him. Don't you do that.
Nah. Always have backup copies just in case. In all seriousness, no, great to hear his story because it's a fascinating story and he does so much good stuff outside of WWE, which isn't mentioned. Great guy by all
accounts. Yeah, like it's a real shame because Titus is a fantastic ambassador. He has obviously done all this great work for like Troubled Children and stuff. He's just a really good guy, man. And like I can see him having a career in the company long after he is retired because of that reason. It would be nice though if he got a little bit more acknowledgement for it on here.
Poosh. Titus O'Neil.
That's racism.
Right, let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can tweet your Twitter questions at us at WhatCultureWE and watch there. Follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray at
Andy H. Murray.
You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. As I said, you can follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.